Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the last game of pool play in the Olympic Sevens competition. It will be New Zealand versus Ireland. We have just recently seen South Africa qualify for the quarterfinals. We have also seen already every other side confirmed. It will be Argentina, Australia. I'm going to see France and Fiji. And then also alongside that, the USA have made their way through. But the big question mark now is who will be top qualifier out of these two sides and who will they face? Now, the winner of this game will take on South Africa. The loser of this contest, they will go head-to-head with the defending gold medalists in Fiji. So honestly, there isn't really an easy game just around the corner. Whoever wins faces the silver medalists. Whoever loses faces the gold out of those South Africa and also the other side, who I have already gone blank on, who I just mentioned. I can't even remember what I was saying. Anyway, this is going to be an entertaining game, ladies and gentlemen. We are running off very limited sleep. It is currently 2:30 a.m. here in New Zealand, which means we are very close to the kickoff. New Zealand, in their starting lineup, they are going to be as follows. Scott Curry, he is still there. It looked like he had a bit of a head knock in the last contest, but managed to recover. Kulia Rokalisoa and Dylan Collier also in there. Fihi Finianofo, Moses Leo, Leroy Carter, Joe Weber is there at number 13 to close out the starting side. Now, there will be no Regan Weir for New Zealand throughout this competition. Unfortunately, he has suffered an injury to his shoulder. They are hoping that he will be back by the end of the comp, but it's going to be very optimistic to see that man return. For Ireland, it is Harry McNulty, Mark Roach, Zach Ward, Jordan Conroy, Hugo Keenan, Terry Kennedy, and Niall Comerford. The side is more than capable of beating New Zealand in the head-to-head. It is heavily in favour of the Kiwis, but that does not mean that it can't change. Now, currently, they have got only one quarterfinal completely confirmed, but it is the one between France and Argentina, so that's going to bring a lot of friction and a lot of, I guess, rivalry to the quarterfinals. And well dedicated to the task, my man says Big Boy Games, and come on Ireland, says Malachi, and there as well. But it's going to be a tough game for both of these sides. I do see it being relatively close, the way that this one should play out. The quarterfinals are starting at 7 a.m. New Zealand time, or 9 p.m. for you guys in South Africa, 8 p.m. I believe, if you are in Ireland. And 19 points to 5, says Blues Nate. But yeah, a decent hour for us here in New Zealand. And go the ABs, beat these Irish lads, woohoo, says Paddy, who has been a member for 20 months. So thank you very much, Paddy. Greatly appreciated all of your support. New Zealand's previous results, they beat Japan 40 points to 12. South Africa, they were able to defeat them 17 points to 5, but we have now seen South Africa qualify. The earliest that New Zealand could face them again would be just around the corner if they lose this game. Or sorry, if they win this game, they will face South Africa. So that will be an epic rematch of that last contest. Now, 69,000 in attendance for Stade de France in this matchup. The crowd are absolutely loving it. It is hot conditions, though, so you wonder how much that will wear on the players. Now, the quarterfinals are later on today, but the semi-finals and the finals are not actually tomorrow. They are the next day. It's a little bit longer that we've got to wait for a close Irish win or a blowout for the Kiwis. So here's a flash in there, and the Irish now making their way out of the tunnel, being led out by Harry McNulty, the Irish skipper. And come on, Ireland, we are going to win, says Connor there. Like I've said, it's quite a long run for the athletes out of the tunnel at their Stade de France, definitely in 27-degree heat. The players, they want to manage their energy. Both of these sides, no matter what, are through to the next stage. So you want to make sure you're avoiding injuries. You want to make sure that you are also getting into that next game with decent form. Spot knives on. Spots roll pipe on the ready. Rings the word, says Doctor there. But Dylan Collier, the captain for New Zealand, they've still got a lot of experienced heads out there. We saw Joe Weber. He was brought in due to the injury that we saw of Regan Weir. Do New Zealand have any serious chances at the gold other than rugby this year, says HD23? It's actually a very good question. I'm not 100% sure. I know that the 8-man rowing last time we did quite well in for New Zealand. The pole vaulting, I'm not sure what's happening there. I think we've got a high jumper who's doing all right. at the moment. I will definitely have to sit down and have a look through at the schedule and work out who's actually doing what event when for New Zealand. After this match, New Zealand Soccer Girls next. Let's go, up against Canada, the side that got caught spying on them. That'll be an interesting game. This one just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen, from kicking off the last of pool games until we head towards the playoff finals of the Rugby Sevens. New Zealand not bad at cycling. That is true. Their 4-man cycling crew, I think, did relatively well last Olympics. One of the guys actually from just up the road, I think, from myself. And it's going to be kicked off by New Zealand. Nicely taken by Terry Kennedy on the Irish 22. Both sides will want to be clinical throughout this match, concede as little penalties as possible, and have that handling on point. Zach Ward, great bursting run from him. He hasn't quite been as impactful throughout this competition so far as we would have expected, definitely because he's been so solid throughout the last 12 months. Has scored a lot of tries, Zach Ward. The All Whites won last night. Yeah, they beat... Who they beat? Was it Guinea? I think was who they were playing, maybe. And Chessman says HD23. Yeah, as we move throughout the Olympics, we'll hopefully give you guys some more updates in terms of how New Zealand are doing overall throughout the live streams that we have got already planned for the channel. Mark Roach, ready to throw this one in after the early penalty to go against New Zealand. Wise Collier starting after a shocking last performance and once again giving away a penalty straight away. Says Razor. Now going off to the right-hand side. I guess it's one of those ones that if he is the skipper, they kind of have to keep him out there to try and find his form before the playoff games, because who knows, maybe he is the player that can turn it around for New Zealand in a big game when it matters most. Now passing out wide here, Ireland on the halfway line. The winner faces South Africa. The loser faces Fiji. Another penalty goes against New Zealand. That will be against Fini Nanofo. And yeah, man, big shout out to the All Whites, says Doctor there. No clear release as the call from Jordan Way. Okay, Jordan Way just having a bit of a chat to him there, explaining why it was a penalty. They will only be about 7 metres out from the line now for Ireland, in a great position on the field to possibly score the first try. Who's going to win? Says Kalhara. I do see this one being relatively close. Normally Ireland leading to the final moments, then New Zealand normally score right at the end to steal the win. That's the way that it's happened quite a few times throughout this year, but straight through, is he? No, he's dropped it. I think it was Hugo Keenan. Almost went through the gap, but just drops it as he went through the New Zealand defence. Would have been a certain try. No European TV channels televising this. It's a disgrace, these big boy games. I agree. I feel like there should be a lot of watching options around the world, not just behind paid subscriptions. But the good news is, if New Zealand make it far in the competition, their games in terms of the sevens will be shown on YouTube due to Sky Sports broadcasting rights. I think that for the Australians, it's a little bit similar. I think that Stan Sport will probably be able to show the highlights for Australia as the matches do progress. So it's a little bit of a weird one, isn't it? But we actually want certain sides to do well in this comp so that people are able to watch the highlights of the games. Okay, Stan Sport do not have it, I don't believe. But Finian Nofo, it's his offload away. New Zealand moving up the halfway line. Collier went for the offload, but that one has not stuck in the hands. It means that Ireland now are going to have possession. So yeah, New Zealand, in terms of being able to watch the games on YouTube, we do need New Zealand to go far so that people can enjoy the sevens as it progresses. The likes of the game may be up against Fiji later on. I do hope that those two sides play each other at some point, because we have got a huge amount of abuse from Fijians for not showing the games. But we just don't have the licensing. We're unable to show no footage. But that is going to be nicely run forward there for Zach Ward up the middle. Jordan Conroy. Good positional play from the Irish. And again, the penalty goes against New Zealand. There's 3 breakdowns in a row that they've been penalised for. And why is it bad when where's a white? Says Doctor, I will not answer that one. Come on, New Zealand, says Blue here. And watch out for the razzle-dazzle of the black machine, says the Neon. And BBC is showing it, says Fleshin. And changes his glasses, says a Blues Nate, but that one's going to be kicked towards the touchline from the Irish. Do you see there, the coach is looking nervous at the moment for the Irish. They will start televising once the opening ceremonies are done in Europe. So here's big boy games. Because I guess that is a good point, isn't it? Like, currently we are theoretically before the Olympics has actually started, per se. Like, yes, it started, but the opening ceremony is tomorrow, which does feel weird that we've almost had all the sevens action before it has taken place. Like, the gold medal for the Olympics will be confirmed on pretty much day one of the Olympics after the ceremony. Still nil all, it is indeed. Currently 5 minutes gone in this contest, 2 minutes remaining. Niall Comerford goes across to Harry McNulty. In fact, this time it's going to be Zach Ward. Good pace shown, and he will score the try on the outside. Finian Norfo has been beaten on the outside, and Ireland, the first team on the board in this contest. If Ireland win this, New Zealand face Fiji in the quarterfinals. No matter what, that's going to be a sad day for one of those two sides. The two Olympic finalists from the last competition. If New Zealand were to win this game, they would still face South Africa, though. And Ireland in the same boat. If they win, South Africa's on the cards, the team that they've already beaten this competition, or they would face Fiji, a side that have beaten them many times over. French ceremony will be about the history of the croissant and wine. And got gassed outside, Brian Habana style. Says, raise and damn, look out, New Zealand don't look interested at the moment. Says HD23. Yeah, great position from Ireland. New Zealand have been making errors in the breakdown. They've been penalised, I believe, 3 or 4 times in a row. And that has allowed Ireland to keep their position, keep momentum going forward. And 1 minute now remaining in this first half. Time has been called off. So now, by the sounds of it, the conversion was missed, so the score will remain at 5 points to 0. Who's going to win, says Milani at the moment. Ireland have got the 5-0 lead. Although, like I said, normally Ireland, they can get themselves a good lead heading into the last couple minutes, and then that is normally when New Zealand do get themselves the last-minute victory. Scott Curry goes up for that one. It's going to be bouncing into the hands of Zach Ward again for Ireland. And up the Kiwis is West Side. Back across to the left-hand side now, Harry McNulty. He's going to try out his pace. Terry Kennedy running it sideways. In fact, running it backwards. Akulio Rokalisoa trying to line him up. Jordan Conroy has got the option with him. Ireland, they won't mind closing out this half with a 5-0 lead. In fact, they'd love it even more if they can close it with 12-0. Terry Kennedy goes to the short side, trying to cut through. Scott Curry makes the tackle on him, and he has been crunched in the breakdown. Zach Ward gets in there, another advantage against the New Zealanders. They have been penalised out of this first half. Beautiful ball to Conroy, and he will, I think he's dropped it. I think he's put that one down, Jordan Conroy. Could have been a try right at the end of the first half. Who would New Zealand rather face, South Africa or Fiji? I think they'd rather face South Africa. And that is nothing against South Africa. It's just more so the fact that they have already beaten them in this competition. Fiji are undefeated. And, he got it down. Jordan Conroy from that angle. He ate the ground, though. His face went smack bang straight into the ground. His nose might have been flattened. He does not look good, Jordan Conroy, but that is because of that massive landing, and he's actually got a sore knee from that try. And Leko Ireland says, Daniel, but that is going to make the score 12-0 going into halftime. Ireland looking the more competitive of the two sides at the moment. Kulio Rokalisoa and also Moses Leo trying to slap that ball out. It's such a hard facial landing for Jordan Conroy. He could have ended up with a concussion, a dislocated shoulder from the way that his shoulder rolled around, or a knee injury, and he's ended up with the knee injury in the end. But yeah, he could have ended up with about 3 injuries all in one there, and he may have, but it's just the knee is the one that hurts the most for Jordan Conroy at the moment. Come on, New Zealand. Ireland will face the Bok, and the Bok will come out on top, says LFG, although they did play earlier on in the competition, and Ireland were victorious in that matchup. South Africa will want to right those wrongs from that match. Either way, South Africa are facing a side that has beaten them already in the Olympics. But is that where we are going to see the difference? But now Ireland, they are happy enough with that first half performance. 12-0. New Zealand are going to need a massive breakthrough. Broken nose, broken chin, eye socket, neck, whiplash. Plenty of bad deals in the face plant like that. Says Razor Robinson. And yeah, I do hope for his sake it is just the knee. And I know that sounds bad to say, but he is limping. He's walking off the field, though, which is, I guess, one big bonus for Jordan Conroy, but it could have been much worse with the way that he landed. So, yeah, hopefully a speedy recovery for that man. He may even be back for the next match, as long as he isn't concussed as well. The crowd are loving the atmosphere already. We know a few of the semi-finals that have been confirmed. New Zealand, they are confirmed to be through, same with Ireland, but they are unsure of who they will be playing at this point. The winner of this game, they will be heading head-to-head with the South Africans. And then the other game that can be confirmed, I believe, would be the loser of this game would face Fiji. We'll be covering the 15 test matches. We will indeed, for the Fijians, for the Irish, for New Zealand, everyone that is coming up in international rugby, we are going to be covering on the channel as well. You beauty Ireland, says Daniel. Yeah, brilliant start to the match. Now second half being kicked off by Hugo Lennox. New Zealand starved of the ball in the first half. They were, but then at the same time, they also had a lot of errors along the way. They ended up with hardly any penalties going their way. I think that they had a lot of times in the breakdown that they were messing it up. Now, big run from Leroy Carter. New Zealand score within the first 25 seconds of the second half. A big start for them, and now they are only down by 5. Big difference with the way that New Zealand have come out with intent in the second half. And could have been worse, could have been on the bone dry hard ground, says Doctor there. A nice break-in run for New Zealand. I think it was pretty dry, though, by the looks of the way that the players are sliding. There isn't a lot of give in the surface. And let's go New Zealand, says DJ, yeah. A nice try from Leroy Carter. Now this kick. Lining it up, and that one has gone over, so 7 points to 12. Quarterfinals are going to be taking place from 7 a.m. onwards, ladies and gentlemen. We are covering them on the channel. 25 seconds, that quicker than me ducking a Kit Kat bar. Sears Blues, Nate, that one bouncing awkwardly. Terry Kennedy passing it across to Hugo Lennox. Ireland retreating, but they have managed to regain their composure extremely well. And now we have a counter-attacking opportunity. Missed tackle from Akulia Rokalisoa. Put in the ears back, it's going to be Jack Kelly. Now Comerford. Looks like Ireland just going to take a deep breath here from inside of their 22. Restructure and get this attack going forward. Here comes Hugo Keenan. Big shot on him by Joe Weber. How did South Africa qualify? They did win up against the Japanese by a large margin, so that meant that they had the best points differential, so they come in as the 8th ranked side, but they are the third team in the pool with these two sides, so that is why they do qualify. Who do you think will win the competition? Says Milani. Honestly, there's about 6 teams. They have a really good shot at the moment of being able to win it. And, Quagga has taken a few face plants in his days. And what happened to the Aussies? They are through. They are going to be playing in the final quarterfinal. They are undefeated at this stage of the competition, and more than likely will be facing the USA, I believe, as a side that they will go head-to-head with. Leroy Carter looking exhausted at the moment as he makes his way from the field. And we have got, big ups, mate, says Simon Riley. And also, they need to do the in and out sweep and crouch play, Razor. And good New Zealand, can you keep on going, says Daniel Davids. Now Hugo Lennox passes it across to Terry Kennedy. How's game looking for New Zealand? Second half has been a lot better where they've had a bit more of the ball in hand, but they do still need to get one more crucial try. Ireland on the halfway line. Lennox goes across to Comerford. Finds Kelly. Was lurking on this right-hand touch. They looked a little bit high from Whina Nuofo, so there is going to be the penalty advantage. Man, it's a penalty magnet at the moment for the Kiwis. Australia are sneaky good. I think Australia are one of the dark horses of this whole competition. And me saying that means they'll probably get beaten by the USA in the quarterfinals, but honestly, I think they're a really well-oiled side, and I could see them making it through to at least the semi, if not the final, of the Sevens comp. Now, Ireland again will have the line-out throw. This one's going to be about 25 metres out. We are 4 minutes away, and if the score sits the way that it is, we will then see New Zealand versus Fiji. The game's a lot shorter when everything's on the line, says Simon Riley. And who did France have? They are playing Argentina. So if you thought the crowd were booing loud for Argentina when France weren't playing them, you wait till France are the side that are across from Los Pumas. But Hugo Keenan on the halfway line now. Terry Kennedy. Ireland, something that they have to be heavily credited for in this game has been their patience. They haven't rushed anything, going into breakdowns, backing themselves to eventually find a gap in New Zealand's defence. Nice step from Comerford, looking for the pass there to Lennox. Space starting to open up now. Keenan goes one more to Terry Kennedy. A try here for Ireland might seal the deal. And booked him a spot up against the South Africans in the quarterfinal. Niall Comerford making his way forward out to McNulty out on the wing. Good tackle made. Collier looking for the turnover. Can't quite get there. Lennox now goes across to Terry Kennedy. He will back himself to go through, but instead goes across to Lennox. Then goes back to Terry Kennedy. Has the handling error. That was almost forward from the Irish, but it is going to be play on. Lennox now. It's a 2-on-1 out wide. Chance in the corner for Jack Kelly. In fact, this time it's going to be Mullins. Now Lennox goes back across to Comerford. This is looking like a good chance to score here for Ireland, but they take it to ground again. Collier wanted to get the turnover. New Stub has given away the penalty. Kennedy, that's going to be offside, I believe, but it is 5 metres out from the line now. Ireland take the quick tap. There's an injured player in Comerford, so they do have to wait. He still wants to take it. He's still got Comerford in front of him injured. Kennedy wants it, but his own player was the reason that Jordan Way could not continue because he was in an offside position. The Aussies are just the spoilers who can beat the Fijians. Sears Flesh and New Zealand look like they will lose to Fiji, says Milani. The game's a lot shorter when everything's on the line. They're only a couple metres out now. New stuff straight in the breakdown and wins the turnover for New Zealand. Blitzbox going to be dangerous, says Danian. They certainly are going to be, if they play like they did up against Japan rather than how they played up against Ireland and New Zealand. That's the big thing. What Blitzbox team are we going to see? Will we have the national anthem later? For the final, I believe they will. I don't think they will have it, though, for their quarterfinals. Just with the amount of time allocated to each game. They've only got a 30-minute period. Also, if it's a draw, we will have golden point time, something that we could see in this time. Narui McGarvey Black now making his way onto the field. News W, good thing. What is the use of this game? When both of the teams will be playing in the quarterfinals, win or lose, says Desmond, it does determine who they will be playing. Because, of course, the whole competition is based off rankings in terms of your pool play. So the winner of this game will face South Africa, the loser will face Fiji. But they do need to work out who is first, who is second, so that they can then know who to play in the quarterfinals. So it's just like any other competition. You have your pool stages, then that determines who is in the playoff games. And score the try and finish this, says Doctor. Now going to be kicking this one towards the touchline here for New Zealand with Andrew Newstub. They will exit just outside of their 22. Have a long way to go, New Zealand. 100 seconds left. I mentioned how normally Ireland are in the lead heading into the final moments of a game up against New Zealand, and then New Zealand steal it in the end. That may be exactly what we see here. We might have predicted it perfectly, but New Zealand need to get this line out right. They've gone to the front to Tony Nashu. He was isolated, and Ireland somehow missed 2 tackles on him. Dylan Collier. New Zealand have numbers now on the halfway line. Brady Rush goes across to Cook Savage, who bumps through Lennox, but he's isolated himself there. Now the Roy McGarvey Black. New Zealand have a 3-on-2 out wide. They will look to use it. Tony Nashu tries out his step. He's been a handful since making his way onto the field. Dylan Collier plays halfback. And Ireland are going to win this. Now Roy McGarvey Black. One more pass on the outside to Tupaya. Cook Savage. He's going to be just short of line. Brilliant defence from Ireland, but Roy McGarvey Black will score it for New Zealand. A important kick to come. What happens if it's a draw? Says Lilia B. Then it will be based off points differential, which at the moment, I believe, if we look at the table the way that it is, points differential, they're actually on the exact same points differential. So then it would go down to tries scored, which I believe would give New Zealand the advantage because they have scored 9 tries, whereas Ireland have only scored 8. But, yeah, a draw in this scenario, which could be very likely, will just make things awkward in terms of all the things they have to go through to split these two sides. Go Hamish, go Hamish. I hope your team wins. An Irish Whitehead. Yeah, dude, a real defensive liability, says Razor. And this game will show who will be the team to beat the quarter, says Daniel. And try and come in conversion will determine here. The kick for New Zealand, it has gone over, ladies and gentlemen. 14 points to 12. And now the full-time siren has just sounded. New Zealand need to retain possession to win this game. In fact, they've decided to instead kick it deep. And it's nicely taken by Mullen inside of the Irish 22. New Zealand giving away the penalty for not releasing. Lennox decides to take it quickly. This game is well and truly still up for the taking if you are the Irish. Nice stepping. Oh, almost a tip tackle there from Tapaya Cook-Savage. New Zealand looking for the turnover, but can they get it, or can Ireland be the side now in the final moments to take it away from New Zealand? As we currently sit, it would be New Zealand versus South Africa. And Ireland versus Fiji. New Zealand win the penalty. They will be facing the blitz box in the quarterfinals. How did New Zealand get back? I said it at the start. In terms of who normally wins these games, Ireland lead it till the end. New Zealand score the last minute try and then they win. That has happened more times than not throughout the last 12 weeks or the last 12 games between these two sides. Every single time, New Zealand seem to just be able to pull it off and get themselves the victory near the end. But they will be facing now South Africa in the quarterfinals, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be a massive game indeed. But it has been confirmed. Also Argentina, one moment, we will go down a little bit further and find those playoff games. Samoa, no, that one's already happened. One moment, we'll go down here. Right, they haven't quite said it yet, but I believe the quarterfinals of the competition, it is going to be Ireland versus Fiji, South Africa versus New Zealand, Australia versus USA, and Argentina versus France. Thank you, Hamish. It's always fun, says Lilia B. So yeah, the next one will be taking place at around 6 a.m. New Zealand time in about 3 hours time. Good win, says Dan's Pans. And very good for both teams. Cheers, ABs. Says Gus. And I don't know if Blue's in the team. Says Dan's Pans. I mean, they tried to have Caleb Clark last Olympics, but he never got game time. And get some Z's, Hamish. Your blink rate's going slower. Great job, mate, says Big Boy Game. And good luck from a South African, says Anton. Yeah, it's going to be an awesome game when those two sides go head-to-head. South Africa, they did lose it to New Zealand in the first pool stage match, but I feel like the redemption arc for the Blitzbox could be much bigger than any other side now, because they are the only team to make it through to the quarterfinals who lost 2 games in their group stage. So when you talk about underdogs, and you talk about that, I guess, pressure, but also the capability, South Africa could be the dark horse of this whole competition. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in as the Irish match on first later. It is going to be on at 8 a.m. New Zealand time, or I believe that will be 10 p.m. for you guys, or 9 p.m. for Ireland. But it's going to be an epic one, ladies and gents, and we will be scheduling all those live streams very soon. So if you are new to the channel, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the quarterfinals, which are only a few hours away.